Welcome to a new SkyRoster training video. As you can remember from the previous roster engine introductory video, each working schedule or roster goes through two states. In the beginning, each schedule is saved as a draft roster or a template. When planners reach to a final version of it, they promote it as a baseline or a published roster. Today we will talk about how to create a draft roster. To start this process, we need to open the template design wizard, where we are asked to choose which kind of template we want to create, a new template or a continuation one. A new template is a template which is created from scratch, with no connection to a previous roster. In contrast to this, a continuation template is a type of template which is created to continue the shifts of an existing published roster, using the same employees and rostering constraints. We will talk about continuation templates in a future video. At the moment, we stick to the new template path. After selecting new template, the first step of the template design wizard is displayed. Here, we need to set the main characteristics of our draft roster in terms of the resources it applies to, individual employees or teams, and regarding the rotation strategy, with a fixed shift pattern or with no shift pattern. By combining these two features, we can generate 4 types of rosters. Individual roster with no shift pattern, individual roster with shift pattern, team roster with no shift pattern, and team roster with shift pattern. For the purpose of this video, we will use the most common type of roster, which is the individual roster with shift pattern. We'll demonstrate all other combinations of rosters in separate videos though. So, in the first dropdown, we are supposed to select the unit, team or department for which we build this roster. If we build a roster for multiple teams from the same unit, then here we must pick this parent unit. Then, under roster type, we'll select individual based. And we'll set the rotation strategy to shift rotation. Now, we'll select one of the shift patterns already created in one predefined manpower definition. Manpower requirements define how many employees with certain qualifications are needed on each shift. To find more about it, you can review the training video 7 on individual manpower requirements. The last parameters we need to configure in this first step are the start date and the end date for the draft roster. SkyRoster does not impose a maximum limit on the roster period, but you need to consider that the computing time to generate a schedule increases with the period's length. Alright, let's move on to the second step of the wizard, where we need to configure the resources for which the roster is generated. Depending on the roster type, individual or team-based, we will see here a list of employees or one with teams. For our case, we see all employees who can work in the unit we have selected in the previous step. Furthermore, we can filter the list of employees based on their membership type. As you can remember from the staff training video, an employee is assigned to a single unit, called primary unit, but he can be allowed to work in other units, as well. All these units define his unit membership. So, if we select the member of unit in the staff selection tab, then we will get all employees who are allowed to work in our selected unit, as well. Otherwise, if we select primary member of unit, we will get only the employees with the primary unit equal to the one we have selected in the previous step. In addition to the unit membership, we are able to filter the list of employees based on the validities of their qualifications. We can select employees who have at least one valid qualification or the ones whose qualifications are valid for more than a predefined number of days. After we finalize with these details, we can either select all employees or just pick some of them, by ticking the checkbox next to their names. The roster will be generated only for the selected employees. Alright, let's pause here this video and continue next time with the last 2 steps in the template design wizard, when we'll discuss the hard and soft constraints offered by the roster engine. Until then, take care and see you soon.